All right, I realize I messed that up. Hold on, give me 1 second. Uh, I gotta change your name on here.
Oh no worries. I had to. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay, you changed it from. Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I was
like
looking at
to.
you. Let me put my last name too.
Oh, you want people to know everybody's name. You know what I'm saying? Get so they can see who you are and stuff like that. But nah, man. Um, Welcome back to another great episode of Comedians in Bed, where comedians could be comedians. And I don't really know what that means, but it sounds like something you should say on a podcast, man. I'm so excited that we have another great guest here for you today, man. He's very funny. He's very hilarious. I see his clips all the time on IG, and every time I see him, I laugh. And I'm not just saying that because he's on here or, that he's from, the Chicago scene or whatever. This dude come from down south country, Bama, bro. And he's the finest that they got coming out of there, born and raised. Everybody, please give it up for Kadeem Fuller, everybody.
Hey, what's
What's
good?
going
What's
on,
up,
man?
Dylan? What, Ty?
What's going on? How you feeling, man?
I'm good, dog. I'm off work. I got a day job and shit still, so I'm off work. Yes.
I don't even know if you was raised in Alabama. Was you born and raised in Alabama, or was you just born
Born
there?
and raised, bro. Born and raised in the country part of Alabama, not like Birmingham or Montgomery. Like we still got like dirt roads and tractors for cars, man. I'm from the sticks for real.
Yeah. Like how was that growing up in like the country, and now you're like a city boy?
It's different, man. I always tell people, you don't. I feel like growing up, you don't know Alabama is racist until you leave. Like, because people just give you a bunch of assumptions. Like, you from Alabama, y'all still got like police dogs and water hoses and a Klan. I'm like, bro, you think Alabama's still in 1965, man? That's crazy. It
Yeah.
is, but don't. But it was cool, man. I enjoyed that. Like a lot of like values were instilled in me, like my parents. I feel like in the South you just have people that work hard, bro. Like that's the South. So it's like working hard for everything you got. So I'm bringing that into Chicago, where I've been for like the last 5 years. But man, I love Alabama.
How what's like one like thing you probably like grew up doing that you kind of like miss doing that you did as a country boy growing up? Like what was like that thing you reminisce about the most?
I always say just growing up in Alabama in the country, like you can see the stars better than anything like in the city because in Chicago there's so many lights, so many skyscrapers, you can't really see a lot of stars. So I just remember just being outside, just looking at the stars. You can see like shooting stars and the Big Dipper, Little Dipper, man. I miss that. I just miss I don't miss it, but I do sometimes reminisce about like the slow aspects of Alabama. Like in the city, everything fast, bro. Like even Chicago, like you just gone. But in the South, there's a certain slowness, a certain coolness that a lot of the older guys and you just have. Like take your time, everything's gonna come at your own pace. But in the city, man, it's almost like you got to get it and go at all times. So I do miss that pace.
What's I mean, I've always just lived in a city. Like, I mean, where I'm from, Columbus is definitely slower compared to Chicago. How do you maneuver and operate when you got to move at a faster pace than you're usually accustomed to?
You get used to it, bro. Like you get used to it. I always say like the first couple of days I went to I moved to Chicago. I got like a parking ticket. So I realized I just can't park on the street like I can in the South. Like you can in the South, you can make your own parking spot, bro. Like and it's just a certain type of demeanor. Like not even like people in the Midwest are generally nice, but in the South is like people are aggressively nice, like speaking to you, saying hey when you don't even know the person. In the South, in Chicago, in the Midwest, it's a little bit. I'll speak to you, but I'm not going to be overly friendly. So I've learned to just kind of be about my business, and if I meet somebody I can connect with, that's cool. But that was the big thing, bro. Just adjusting. So many people, so many different things, man. I always tell this story too, bro. Like when I was in Alabama, like you have homeless people, but not as much as like big cities, dog. Like, I remember my first time at a library in Chicago. I was sitting next to this older dude. His clothes was a little ragged. He was just talking. We was having a conversation for like 20 minutes, man. Like then I started to realize, man, he started talking crazy. Like this man is homeless. This is a homeless dude It's just in the I was talking to him for like legit 20 minutes, and I didn't realize because in the South, like you have homeless people, but they're not in the library. So there's those differences are this is city living. You can't talk to everybody.
Yeah. How is that? Because like up here we don't really we kind of just put our head down, and just kind of walk. But down south, you guys speak to everybody. How was getting adjusted to that?
Like I just don't speak as much, dog. I'm not as friendly. But sometimes, but I realize like I still have it. Like I'm overly friendly. Like when I was telling you I got my first ticket, I was upset, but I still told the woman that gave me a ticket, thank you for some reason. Like it's just like where did that even come from? Right. So I think it's just embedded in me. So now it's not like I don't go out my way to be overly friendly, but if I strike up a conversation with anybody, that southern niceness is gonna show up. So just kind of now I just got to tuck it away versus just being out and open and like in the South.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. I used to live down in the South. I used to live in Texas for a short period of time, like this small town, San Angelo. They could always tell that I wasn't from like Texas or wasn't from the South. Like right away, they would ask me like, where was I from and whatnot. Did you see that like coming up here when you went up north? They was like, you're not from here. Like, where are you from?
Yeah, dog. I used to have like a much thicker accent. I've lost it. I've been in the Midwest for like almost damn near 10 years. So before I was in Chicago, I was in a spot called Champaign. You from Ohio, so you know Champaign. I was there for grad school, so I was it was pretty much like it's still country. Like Champaign is country as fuck. So then when I moved to Chicago, my accent was pretty much gone. So people could still like I had to talk quicker. I used to talk a lot slower, so they can just realize like, where you from, dog? Like I didn't know what the taste of Chicago was when I first moved here, and people took offense to that. Like, where you from? You ain't from Chicago, type
Yeah.
shit. So yeah.
Is that what brought you up here? School?
Yeah, so school brought me up here. I was so born and raised in Alabama. I went to school in Mobile, Alabama. Then I went to grad school in Champaign, and I discovered comedy during that time. And then I was like, okay, I can either stay here or move on to bigger and better things. So I got my master's. I was supposed to do a PhD. Got my master's. Pretty much dropped out and just came to the city.
What was you studying?
Higher education policy. So like a lot of like social, cultural, higher ed, like institutions and stuff like that. A lot of my research was based off of post-secondary correctional education, so college and prison programming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we go from there to making people laugh on the stage each and every single night?
It's a journey, man. It's definitely a journey. So, like I said, I was there for grad school. The work that I was doing, working in prisons, a lot of it was like rooted in activism, right? So, a lot of my early on like connections to it was like joining BLM, part of like campus protests and stuff like that. And I was doing that for like maybe 2 or 3 years, but it got to a point where I was like, it got like real taxing on me. Like I started having dreams of just like getting shot by cops, and I was like really out there, bro. Like I went to Oakland for a protest, and Oakland they protest different. Like they throw shit at cops, so they was throwing rocks and shit. And I was out of town, so I always say I was throwing pebbles like little dirt. I was throwing it, but I wasn't arrested. So I was really out there like within the community, but it got to a point where I was just getting drained and just I didn't know where else to go. So I just started doing like creative outlets. I tried to learn how to play bass guitar, and then that didn't work out. And then, comedy just kind of came. I was hanging with some friends watching like the BET Awards, and I started just roasting some of the awards, just roasting people. They're like, oh, bro, you should do stand up. I was like, what? And then it just kind of clicked. Like, let me just try this. And I loved it. The first time I tried it, I went to my first comedy show. Took me 2 months to write something down and felt like it was good enough. And I did it 2 months later and just fell in love with it. Been doing it for like 6 years at this point.
So BET birth Kadeem Fuller comedy.
Give me a role, man. I know BT Plus, Queens Men, they out there. There's a bunch of shows out there. Sisters, something. Put me on. Tyler Perry.
That's funny, man. But nah, that's what's up. That's funny though. BET, and that's I mean that's an unconventional route. But I feel like sometimes like we might see how we want to do things in life, and then we do it, and it's the very thing that leads us to what we ultimately are like, supposed to do.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Yeah. Man, that's what's up. So like, so when you came, so when you did it the first time, you were just like, all right, I'm gonna just move straight to Chicago. Like, you just caught the bug.
Oh, yeah, so I caught the bug. The cool thing about Champaign is it was a small like community, like a small comedy scene. So maybe like I want to say 30 or 40, maybe 50 people that were doing it consistently. If that, honestly, I'm thinking maybe consistently, maybe 30, 35 people. So, it was a college town too. So you had like a lot of kids trying to get up and do it as well. So it became like we got really good. Like I got really good really quick. Because I had some type of talent when I first started. Like I didn't bomb my first time. And the guy that was running the scene, the Tuttle brothers, really cool people. They run Champaign Urbana Comedy or CU Comedy. They start putting us in shows like really quickly, like after a month. So I was able to get that experience of being in the crowd earlier versus just going an open mic route, which I probably would have did if I was in like a bigger city like Chicago with more comics, better comics and stuff like that. So I was able to get really good really quickly. So after 6 months, once I got my master's, I was like, I can, okay, now it's time to kind of graduate to Chicago.
Yeah. Hold on, do me one favor. You see, are you on your laptop or are you on your phone?
Laptop.
Okay, you see where the bottom where it says settings?
Yes.
Hit that, go to audio, and then slide that mic volume up just a little bit.
How do you slide it?
We feel old trying to find this.
Man, that I'm looking all confused. Where is it? Do I just need to talk? Oh, it automatically says? Okay, I see it. I got you. That better?
Yeah.
That too loud or good?
No, that's cool.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool. So okay, cool. Bam. So I just wanted the people to hear what you had to say. So so when you tell people like what you do for a living, do you lead like, hey, I have a master's? Like, cause I would still like be trying to like throw that in there as much as I can. Like,
I wish I did, bro. I don't, man. I don't. It's just almost like a different life at this point, which is crazy because I was really proud, like one of the first people in my family to get a master's. But now I'm doing comedy. I feel like it's a different world. But I definitely need to bring some stuff back because it was a wild time just being in grad school, just especially in 2016, 2015 when Trump was elected. It was a wild time, bro. Like completely different time. But yeah, I don't leave with unless I'm like working my day job. Oh, I got this, like a little flex.
Yeah. Dang, I feel like we're back in the vortex again with Trump going for running for president again. Do you think he'll be like reelected?
Man, I stopped paying attention, bro. Like I don't like. He's supposed to be in jail. That's what I don't understand. You're supposed to be locked up, bro. You aren't you like? Did you get arrested? So I don't know what's going on, dog. We're gonna have a Suge Knight at goddamn president.
I feel like those jokes are gonna come back out, and I'd rather not do them.
It was
The
a
Trump
different
jokes are definitely gonna
time.
come back up. Yeah.
Because it was so absurd. Just seeing Trump, like there was nothing you can say funny that's gonna top what he was doing, right? So I felt like comedy was weird because it birthed like a lot of political comics who aren't as big anymore because it's almost like normal politics now.
So I'm gonna ask this question. I'm gonna turn this light off, but I'm gonna still be right here. So when we see something like that, something that we know is coming, like something so big, like the president election, are you the type of comic that get your jokes ready for that? Or you're like, okay, I'm going to stay away from that because I know everybody's about to be doing those type of jokes.
Good question. My style is a lot more personal, or my own stories, my own life. If it connects to politics, I connect that, but I always appreciate those topical comics who can see something that the country or the world, society is seeing and can turn that into a joke. I'm a lot more of like my own personal life, trying to relate what I'm going through with somebody else in the crowd. So it's a little different, but I always appreciate those comics.
Yeah. Okay. So what have you like your family like do you think they're more proud of you to when you got your master's or now that you're achieving like going for this dream of like doing comedy and things of that nature? Because I feel like I feel like my family just may be a little bit more proud of me now that I'm like I found something that I love and I'm like I guess sticking to it or whatever.
I'm happy you found that. My parents are happier that I got a master's by far. By far. No comparison. I mean, they've seen me perform a few times. So, like, I will say this, like, when I grew up, I had like a real bad speech impediment. So I didn't talk a lot. So they're proud that I overcame that in doing stand-up, which is a cool story. But, you know, overall, like, they were much happier with master's. I told my pops I was leaving, almost like a joke. When I first started stand-up, I'm about to joke with him and tell him that I'm leaving school. Man, I almost had a heart attack. Scream, why you would do that? Why you going? So I had to like, oh, y'all don't even, you know. But it's gotten a little bit better. So they appreciate, like I said, I'm just getting up and doing something with my passion.
Did like your speech impediment make you like shy as a kid as well?
But it was bad, man. I went to speech therapy classes growing up, and kids be asking you to say words you can't say. So it was always like feeling like a little. I just didn't talk. Like I didn't talk at all. Like I knew, like I would be in my head a lot. So even now, that still impacts me to a certain degree. But I feel like at this point, man, this is how I talk. It is what it is. But it was a long road to get to that point.
Yeah, I didn't talk a lot as a kid neither, but I was just mainly shy. And then when I hit puberty, that was just a weird time because I was short as heck with this deep voice, and I would talk fast, and people couldn't understand what I was saying, so I had to repeat myself a lot. And yeah, I didn't, and it's still like it affects me to this day, like where I don't really like I have to like change my voice to like for people to hear and understand what I'm saying. Like, how does your like speech impediment like still affect you to this day?
That's a good point. When I get excited, bro, that the stuttering comes out a little bit. A lot of it is just some words I still can't say. Like I would have to, kind of ad lib some words. So that's pretty much, bro. It's come a long way, honestly. But I have to be focused. So when I'm on stage and I start getting excited, then I gotta make okay. I already got a joke behind it, so y'all should know what to expect. So yeah, man,
Yeah,
it's all out here.
that was me early on. Like I would like stutter a little bit, and then like I would start having panic attacks. I'm like, man, they can see that I'm effing up, and then like,
Oh,
and then like,
oh shit, they know what I'm going through. Oh shit.
and then I'll be like, all right, let me start this joke over again because this didn't go good, and then start stuttering all over again. I'll be like, all right, this just isn't, this isn't my night.
Hold on. Like you can start the joke over. Like, hold on, let me start over. How would you do that on stage? Okay, I'm halfway through. So knock. Hold on, let me.
Because it has to go how I practice. It has to go that way. I was very early on, man.
Especially early on, I was the same way. If I put a comma, I need to space. If I put this word, if I don't say the word, it messes you up. That's real, especially when you first start. You don't know it's more of a conversation.
Yeah. Have you found it to be a little bit more easier now that you're a little bit more carefree with your speech impediment, and more importantly, just more carefree with like your comedy?
It's still I'm still working on it. I don't go off for like a page anymore. I never brought my notebook up there, but I'm realizing I'm a lot more energy than and I write pretty good jokes, but a lot of my stuff is high energy. So I know if I'm in a good space mentally, I'll try to bring the energy on stage, and that can go so much because I know who I am when I'm writing the joke. So when I have that energy, it's kind of it should pop. But there's still some jokes I feel like I still want to talk about being a little bit more personal. But I feel like as a comic, you have to grow into those things. It's not like the more personal you get, that takes time and energy making it funny versus just making it about your life. So I'm still working through it, but I'm gotten a lot better than I was when I first started 6 years ago.
How do you find the like strength and courage to talk about like those personal things in your life on stage?
Well, I think a lot of it is just coming to terms with it. I think healing from it is number one thing, like because you don't want to use trauma as a way to get laughed if you're not willing to deal with that trauma. Like for example, when I went to speech class, that was real. The stuff that I'm talking about actually happened. So and I've come to terms with it, and now I try to make that into something that I can laugh at because it is my experience and just trying to find the funny in it. Like I just got, bro, I'm all fucked up. I just got hearing aids too, and I'm damn near 30, right? So I am 30. So it's almost like, how do I make that funny? Because now I have an aid so I can hear different things, but now back in the day I couldn't hear certain stuff. So now, like, how can I make that funny after coming to terms with the fact that I do have these issues and knowing other
Yeah.
people got them too? So that's the funny part. Or know somebody with that stutter, or know somebody that have hearing aids. So just trying to speak to those experiences.
How did you know you couldn't hear all like that? I mean, that's a dumb question, but
I
like,
couldn't.
like when did you?
I, you can't hear. That's what, bro. It's crazy because I feel like black parents tell you a bunch of stuff that don't make sense until you get older. Like I
Yeah.
had like tubes in my ear, had like real bad like ear infections growing up. And they just kept telling me, "Oh, you got tubes in your ear. You got tubes in it. Be careful. You can't go swim and stuff like that." So I realized I had like bad hearing because of that situation, and I was born with pretty much bad hearing, which impacts your ability to talk as a young kid because you can't hear, so you some words just don't register. So I didn't think about that until I got the hearing aids when I was 30 versus my parents making that connection. So but yeah, man, I couldn't hear for years. I mean, it was I could hear like a lot of words, but like I'm like left part of my ear like 50%, like certain things I don't hear. So you talk about having like a lower tone voice, like I can't hear lower frequencies at all. So like I have them, I don't have them on now, but it's easy when you're in the microphone. But if we was in public somewhere, you talking to me, bro, I would have to ask you to repeat yourself like 3 or 4 times because it's a deeper, it don't register sometimes.
So do you listen to rap with bass in it and stuff, or?
Yeah, I try. I be vibing along, but I still got the lyric genius, man. Like subtitles are my friend. I always use subtitles and try to make it cool. Like let's read while we try to make it cool because I can't hear it.
Doing Netflix and chill. Why the captions always on? I just, they be talking too fast.
You're like reading. You're like reading while you supposed to be enjoying this shit.
Hey man, that's what's up though. Like, I feel like we don't. I feel like we have, I guess, like too many, for lack of better words, like polished comics. We don't have too many comics, black comics that actually are going through things. I wish we had more like a myriad of
Mm-hmm.
different comics. Let's have like your ultra weird person. Why don't we have a black carrot top? Stuff like that. So I think that's
Exactly.
dope. That don't let your disabilities hinder you. How did you like learn how to hear the audience laugh so you can keep your cadence, stuff like that? Like how did you learn to adjust to your hearing on stage?
It took. I mean, that's a good question. So I could hear. I feel like 65% of stuff, right? So when it's loud, like I could hear the audience laugh, but crowd work could be different, right? Because if they say something like I can't hear it, I can't ask you to repeat yourself 2 or 3 times when I'm in the space and trying to do the crowd work. So that took some time and it helped with hearing aids because I can hear a little bit more stuff, but a lot of it, the issues was just conflicting noise, right? So if we're having a conversation and the music is up and the TV, like I can't, that's when it starts to harder to hear, kind of digest all the things. But as far as the audience laugh, I can hear that most of the time. So that's the good thing. So there's still certain things that I still struggle with, but like as far as the cadence, I try to keep my cadence or use that energy that I was saying cadence when I'm on stage.
Yeah. So now, okay, so no, that's dope because like I have like a comic. We have a comic here that she can't hear in like one ear, and
Mm-hmm.
like so like, but it doesn't seem like it affects her at all when she's actually on stage. So like, was there like any like tips or tricks that you use to help you maneuver that on stage, or did you like go to the club and let them know like, hey, I got this and this, can you do XYZ for me?
Good point. It was never something that hindered me on stage. A lot of it was personal, like not being able to hear when I'm talking to people, having to ask 3 or 4 times, not really hearing. So I'm like laughing when you laugh, or looking serious when you looking serious. But like I said, I could probably 65% of stuff I can hear, but it's still like now I have age, it's like the quality is a lot better
Yeah.
in terms of having conversations. So on stage it was never big, thankfully. But like when I go to movie theaters, like I couldn't hear certain things, and just the extra stuff, or like I said, you got a deep voice, but you might as well learn sign language. Though. I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
That was the worst part. Going when I was younger in my 20s, going to a club trying to talk to a girl because I can't hear nothing. So I'm just rocking with the music. So quality of life stuff, man.
Nah, man, I feel like that's a lot of rich material there. That's so dope, and it makes you stand out. And I think just doing your comedy alone has made you stand out. That's why you're the host of Stand the Heat at the Laugh Factory. How did you come about becoming the host of that, and how has that show been going for you in that club?
Got you. Yeah, Stand the Heat is one of my babies. I love being a producer. I love being a comic. Love being a producer. So creating shows. I actually created the show Stand the Heat with one of my homies that was in Chicago for a while. He's in New York now, Ken Ralph. Shout out to Ken, real cool dude. So the idea came from just like watching Hot Ones and seeing like a lot of people loving that show and the interview concept. So I'm like, if they can do the interviews, why not do something comedy like with the hot pepper related? So the way the show works is like the comic eats a pepper, and we have 3 types of pepper. So jalapeno, serrano, as well as habanero pepper. So they eat the pepper right before they're set, and then they kind of like perform. We've had people have meltdowns, which is always cool to see, but it's almost like a game show. So it's like we tell people you got to say stand the heat, like, and then it becomes like the audience kind of wants you to fail in terms of like struggling to eat the pepper, but they also once you do well, like they're excited. And I think it's always important to keep comics on their toes in terms of like there's something different that you don't experience every day. And then now when Ken left, I got 2 other great producers, Aaron Klein and Kai Harrell. Kyron's actually from Cincinnati, so I know just another Ohio connection, but 2 really great guys. And the show's it's been fun, man. We have it at the Laugh Factory, so we're usually getting quite a few people in there, and it's just fun, man. Just one of them shows where the audience is just a part of the experience, and you just hope that people continue to come and just support it.
Anybody boo boo on themselves yet, or throw up?
No,
No.
no, boo, that would be wild. We have to clear the whole shit out. Like, nah, you banned from life. You can't shit on yourself.
Come the janitor trying to sweep up the boo boo on that.
And then try to do your set. You boo booing on yourself. That's crazy.
Who knew we had a janitor at the club? Where did this nigga come from?
So we never had somebody boo boo on themselves, but we've had like meltdowns, like people who can't take the heat. Like we specifically book a few white people just because sometimes their palate ain't as strong. So we've had people like face go completely red, start sweating, like people like double over, like losing their minds, and because it's just funny because you have people who are polished, they know their material, and you know their material as a comic. Like I've seen you enough times, so when you see somebody crack while doing the show or not be able to do their set, for other comics in the room, that's funny because we know how the joke should go, and it doesn't go like that.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm gonna use that lie to get into the club. Be like, yeah, I'm the janitor here.
Yeah, I know y'all got boo.
Gotta clean the kitchen. That's how I'm gonna get in there and just sneak my way in there. But I'm very curious to how did you get this show into the club? Like, how did you, I guess, convince them or sway them to say, hey, I got an idea, this is gonna work, and then we're gonna sell. Like, how did you get your show in there?
Yeah, I think so. Laugh Factory Chicago is really good for cultivating like young comic shows. It's kind of almost their model. Like they have like their main shows or house shows. But I feel like half of the shows that go on in Laugh Factory are like comic produced. So it wasn't unusual for us to get a show. Now we did have to kind of work hard and talk with the booker and let them know like, hey, this could work. We created like a really detailed what is that thing called? Like a detailed almost like a not a script, but like a proposal. So we kind of showed exactly what this could be, why this would work. So that was the main thing. Once you're able to show that this could be profitable for them, then it's like, okay, let's make it work. And we were good enough comics to, they trusted us with that show.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I didn't know a lot of shows where I see a lot of locals do shows there. I mean, locals, it seems like they are really like local friendly for the comics. I really like that. That's what's up. Before we start to wrap this up, how sad are you that Nick Saban's retired? I didn't even think to ask that at the beginning.
That's a good question, man. Honestly, I'm happy. I'm an Auburn fan, so we've been dogs for years. So I'm from Opelika, Alabama, which is like the town over from Auburn. So I was happy when he retired. I think it's going to impact the state because Alabama ain't going to be as good anymore, and that's without football, Alabama is dangerous because we ain't got nothing else to do. So it's either racism or football. And when football is high, racism is low. So now I'm a little concerned. You don't see, might be some marches.
That's funny. Kadeem, who is one question I like to ask everybody who's on here? Who is on your Mount Rushmore for comedy?
That's 4 people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bernie is always funny just because of how his delivery, he kept it real, like definitely a legend. Patrice O'Neal, just because his ability to make something that most people would see as inappropriate, the funniest thing you've ever heard. Dave Chappelle, just because his ability to tell a story, and in the way that you tell it, like he takes direction that you wouldn't expect for the most part. And then I always say, man, Kevin Hart, bro. Like people say what they want to say, but his first 3 or 4 specials, like just seeing his energy and the way that he talked about his family, bro, and just Kevin Hart, one of the funniest people I've seen, just based off his earlier, 4 or 5 specials. So that's my Mount Rushmore at this point.
Yeah. What are some words of encouragement you can give to any comedian listening to this right now?
I'm gonna say some words that I need to hear myself right now, man. Their journey is not your journey, man, or their success is not going to be your success, and you have to stop measuring other people's successes to what you are or not doing. I'm dealing with that right now, and it's part of it because it's part of the game. Because you see other people, you feel like you're just as funny. Why isn't your opportunity coming? Which is the easiest way to kind of burn out of this game because you're measuring yourself to other standards that you may or may not need to do that. So I said that.
Yeah. Could they tell people why they should listen to Comedians in Bed?
You should listen to this show because comics are able to just be themselves. I think, Ty, you're a great host. So you're able to get a deeper look of the next generations of comics, right? Comics that are big now, the next generation, the ones that you can kind of know, okay, when this person blows up, I know how they started, right? I knew that this person went to Champaign from Alabama, and it's great to see how he changed all that to where he is now. So just almost like a sneak peek for comics that will be household names at one point.
Bing bang.
Kadeem, tell people where they can find you at, man.
You can follow me on Instagram, Fuller Funny, Fulla Funny. I'm also on TikTok, Fuller Funny, same thing, but there's a back face at the end of funny.
And if you want to watch next week's episode, man, we drop every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you can check us out on our weekly clips on our or IG, which is Comedians in Bed podcast. And then for the live is my YouTube channel at TYE Comedy. You can stream wherever you listen to podcasts, man. We're available. Make sure you follow Kadeem on all things socials, man. We want to thank Kadeem for being on Comedians in Bed once again, and we'll see you guys